The objective of this module is to provide an overview of the item details graph. The top section of the item details page is a graphical representation of the demand or usage for a part number that is used in calculating replenishment factors. It provides you with a graphical view of an individual item and allows for easy viewing of item history. This in turn allows you to make quicker decisions about replenishment. Let's start from the home page. Then we'll go to Location Item Details and select a location. Next, I'll search by dist CAD ID. Notice that item details will open automatically if only one result is found. The graph at the top shows the last 52 weeks of history and the current week for that location. Demand can be comprised of sales, transfers to branches it supports, and lost sales depending on what the location has transmitted to DataLiance. A blue bar in a week indicates that there was positive or negative demand reported by the location. Hovering your mouse pointer over a demand bar will show the total demand or override demand for the week date, the total units followed by the total number of frequencies in days that the demand was reported. If lost sales are being used in the demand calculations, they will appear as a lighter shade of blue on the demand bars. Sales appear as a darker shade of blue, as do transfers if they're being used as part of demand. Red dots on the graph indicate that a demand override has been placed by the VMI planner or by a system job. Hovering over that dot will show the week start date, the demand override, and the frequency override. The dot is positioned on the graph based on the demand override value. A red triangle on a blue bar indicates that the demand for that week has been ignored completely or nulled out. Demand frequency overrides can be placed for any week in the graph by clicking on the demand bar for the desired week or in the white space on the graph directly above the week. This will take you to the Set Demand Frequency Override page, where you can insert the desired demand for the week and the desired frequency. Always type in comments to help remember why this override was done and when it was done. Click the Save button when you're finished. Notice the Recalc OP/OQ button. You would click this to recalculate the order point and all related data using that new demand frequency override that you just set. The new demand frequency will be displayed as a red dot. The green line on the chart represents where CalcOP has been historically after it's recalculated every Sunday. Hovering over this line on one of the dots will show you the week start date and the CalcOP value for that week. The graph displays a 26-week date marker and a 13-week date marker to make those distinctions more visible for planning purposes. The second biggest week in the planning horizon is highlighted by a dotted line to help compare weekly sales to the second largest week the unit has had. In the event that the scaling of the graph makes some of the demand bars difficult to see, a zoom function exists to rescale the graph. Dragging the top square closer to the bottom square will zoom in to the graph. Dragging it back to the top will reset the view. Orange dots on the graph represent that item has experienced a back order or accidental stockout at least one day in that week. More information on the number of stockout days and type of stockout can be viewed by clicking on the annual stockout days or 26-week stockout days in the item details chart. The legend under the graph will allow you to turn on or off certain graphical options. Clicking the Calco P line once will remove the line. Clicking it again will add it back to the chart. The prior year option allows you to display the prior 52 weeks of demand as a transparent purple overlay. Clicking the text prior year will change the view on the graph to the previous 52 weeks of demand. Selecting current year will move the graph back to the last 52 weeks. The question mark at the top of the page is where you can find the online help, which will outline all of the various topics that we have discussed. That concludes this module.